My Movie Recollection with Vincent Cloud.
And I'm Matt.
Oh my gosh, you froze. Can you
Did I
do
freeze?
your
I'm Matt
intro?
Hagen.
Yeah, yeah, there he is.
I'm Matt
Um,
Hagen.
One more time.
I'm Matt Hagen. Am I freezing?
See,
I shouldn't be freezing.
no, I just wanted you to mean it finally, like to really
I'm
announce it.
Matt Hagen.
There you go.
Believe me.
All right, well, we're here. Me and this guy named Matt Hagen, who insists on letting people know he's here. We're going to talk about movies fast, randomly. So let's go from my list. You just give me a letter and 1 through 10. That should work
I
out.
want N4.
You want, but maybe you need. Let's see here.
I want it and I need it. Give it to me.
Okay. All right. I think it's. I realize I don't include the in these titles,
Oh, okay.
and I probably should. Okay.
Oh boy.
6-word title.
Oh boy.
The N.
Come up with another clue while I'm thinking here. The never ending. Nope, that's never ending story.
Ooh, I would love to talk about that. The black and white. Black and white.
Black and white. The national
Horror.
No,
Zombies.
black and white zombie. The
Hey,
Night of the Living Dead.
yes.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen it?
I get these confused a little bit, I think, but is that the OG black and white Night of the Living Dead? Because I have seen that one,
Yes.
although I don't recall a whole lot about it, but I haven't seen any of the other ones, any of the other old school ones. Who's the director? I'm just drawing a blank on the director's name.
George A. Romero.
Yes. So he's got a whole canon of these movies, and I believe I've only seen the one, The Night of the Living Dead. Although it's
Yeah.
kind of fuzzy. It's kind of fuzzy. What do you think? What do you think of the movie?
I just need to get this out of the way. It's a zombie movie. It's basically the first, right? It's considered the first. I don't like zombie movies. I like the idea of what you can do with zombies more than the zombies themselves, because after a while, it's just the same story. What's worse, zombies or man?
Yes.
And it's always man, but this is a good one. I like it a lot. I think it should be brought up. We have an African-American lead actor, and sure, he doesn't escape the classic, the black man always dies cliche, spoilers, but it's cool. Like, it's George was like, it didn't, I wasn't trying to say anything about the civil rights movement. He was just the best actor that we could get, because it's a smaller budget, black and white, all filmed basically in a farmhouse, but I like it. It was good. Yeah.
I'm probably the wrong guy to be talking about this movie because I really didn't care for it. So I came in with a context, this new, what am I? I'm a millennial. So I came in with millennial, Gen Z, Gen Y, whatever. I came in with this viewpoint where I've seen plenty of zombie movies already. So then you get to this original black and white and it's just slow and anticlimactic. I mean, it's literally slow. Like the zombies, I remember just so slow. I feel like you talk about zombies being slow, but this was like, and I understand it's the original, but I had seen it all before. So yes, it birthed the whole genre, and I respect it for that, but I didn't get into the movie.
Is this movie basically the Beatles of zombies, where they did everything first? And you're like, I respect that they were first, but
Yeah, you probably hit it. You probably hit it.
Right. That's fine. That is absolutely
Get me
fine.
wrong. Like I love plenty of old stuff. It's just certain things don't really vibe or strike a chord with me the way they do with other things. The Beatles is a good example. We'll save that topic. But this movie is another example of that where I understand what it's doing. I understand why it's influential. It just doesn't strike that chord with me. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it exactly. But yeah, you get let's bring in the guest star. Maybe they can talk better about that. I mean, I didn't care for this movie.
That's fine. Because I understand that as well. We just a reshoot. Yeah, throwing it out there. It's a
Yeah.
segment where we talk about old movies that we discussed previously. My reshoot is we Halloween, where I could understand if people don't get into it, even though it's the origin of the slasher.
Mhm.
I get that, but I still was able to enjoy that, and I was still able to enjoy Night of the Living Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that too. And just to kind of put it in context, like I like Halloween more than Night of the Living Dead. Like I understand Halloween and it feels a little outdated, but something about Halloween struck a chord with me more than Night of the Living Dead. So I don't know what that means exactly in the context of things, other than a hierarchy of I like this movie more than that movie, and they're both OGs, you know. But ah, it's so slow. Don't you find the movie slow? Like I'm sure you came into it with the same context, right? Like you had seen zombie movies before,
Mhm.
so so you found something more, you found something groundbreaking in this movie.
I think what it comes down to is that a lot of zombie movies I just don't care for. The Walking Dead, that TV show, it's like the same shit every episode. So I think it's because this was the first. It wasn't a cliche to have like a guy turn on everyone and, he's like, I'm looking out for myself. That was new then. And so, yeah, I think it is basically kind of Beatle-ish of me because I do love the Beatles. Okay, but how do you feel about the zombie genre? Like, do you have a favorite movie, a zombie movie?
Um, it's a good question. I'd have to put some more thought into it. But yeah, I do generally enjoy the zombie genre. Zombieland is a really good one. I enjoyed that. It's funny and it's a big adventure. There's a road trip going on and it's good. I mean, I like 28 Days Later. I like 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
They're both good. I'm sure there's a couple others that I'm a big fan of that I'm not thinking of right this moment. But yeah, generally I do like the zombie genre, but I don't go out of my way to watch bad movies, so I'm sure there's plenty of bad zombie movies out there that I just haven't seen. I'm thinking of let's see, there was some sort of action zombie movie that came out. Maybe it was like Netflix. It's like a sort of a heist movie. What am I thinking of? It came out in the past
Oh,
year or two.
yeah.
Something of the
Zack
Dead.
Snyder, right?
Zack
That
Snyder's.
movie, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
so I
that
saw
was.
that and I did not like that movie. So I just to put more context into it, because that
Yeah.
was just full of cliches and like there was no urgency to do what they needed to do. It just really bothered me. What was going on with that movie? Although the title sequence is awesome, but you'll get that with any Zack Snyder movie. But yeah, I've seen bad ones, I've seen good ones, but I generally avoid the bad ones. I think that's the case with any type of movie, not just zombie movies.
But those examples that you gave are almost like the exception where they're kind of turning it on the head. Zombieland
Right.
is a comedy.
Yeah.
It's making light of it. And then 28 Days Later, that's the fucking birth of the speed zombie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was different. And they weren't undead as well.
True.
And that's what I'm getting at. It's like the zombie movie, I've seen enough, and I'll probably watch some more, but it's very like the same beats and the
Yeah.
same themes. So I think that's what it comes down to. But you know what? We can move
I
on.
Well, I'm thinking of one more. Like I'm thinking of Dawn of the Dead. So the remake, was that Zack Snyder too?
It was, yeah.
Okay, so I was a fan of that one too.
Hmm.
Even though I hadn't seen the original. But That's, I mean, it's a remake, so it's got your familiar beats and everything that you're talking about. But something about that movie struck a chord with me. The style, the urgency, the maybe just identifying with characters. I don't know exactly. And the ending hit. Something about that movie was struck me. So that one was a good example. But just trying to think of other bad zombie movies I've seen. I don't know that I've seen a whole lot of bad zombie movies. But we can definitely move on if you'd like.
Yes, your list. Let's do that.
Sure.
1 through
Well,
60.
I ordered them differently, so I have them in
Oh.
alphabetical order now. But yes, 1 through 60, and then another 1 through 60.
Okay. Well, alphabetical. Let's do M for Matt. How about that?
Give me a number though. You got to give me a
1 through
number.
60 again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So M would be somewhere, like 28, 29 or something.
55.
Ooh, we're going 55. Highway 55. Give me another one.
Oh, 22.
So 55, we're in the T's. 22. Oh, all right. I'll come right out and say horror movie again. Starts with a T.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Good guess right off the bat.
Tremors.
Let's see. 3 words ish. 2008, so somewhat newer. Let's see. Very Halloween themed. Very Halloween themed.
Anyone in it that I know? Actor?
Yes, there's a lot of it's an anthology. Brian Cox, I remember. Let's see. Anna Paquin.
Oh my gosh, nothing's coming to mind.
Trying to come up with more actors. Who else was in this movie? Good movie. I liked it a lot.
Oh.
Okay, so you're out on Halloween night. Imagine you're a child and you're knocking on people's doors. What do you say when you knock on
Oh,
someone's
I've never
door?
seen this movie. I've never
Okay.
seen this movie. Trick or Treat, right?
Trick or treat. What do you think it's about?
Well, it's an anthology, so
It's an anthology about Halloween. Yes, Vince, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
clue. No clue.
This is a good movie. I've seen it more than once, and it's fun. And I kind of go out of my way to see anthology horror movies. There's a lot of them out there, past, present. I mean, there's going to be a bunch more being made because that's a great way to get into horror movies. It's just you got your little 15-minute thing. You throw it out there, it does its shocking thing, and then you move on to the next story. So horror anthology movies, I'm a fan. I've seen bad ones, I've seen good ones. This, I think, might be my favorite horror anthology. And it's disturbing and kind of darkly funny at times. A couple of the anthologies don't hit exactly, but it's good. If you are a horror fan, check out Trick or Treat if you've never seen it.
I do like Brian Cox. I mean, that guy can do a lot of great stuff. Anna Paquin can suck rocks, man.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. She's kind of boring. I don't know. She's never emerged in my mind as someone who's like, wow, you really said that line with something. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
Did you see The Irishman? The latest Scorsese?
I did not. She's
okay.
on there?
She is. She's kind of have this. She has this understated part. She doesn't have a lot of lines, but she's kind of the what do I want to say? She's kind of the emotional core of the movie. She's kind of the conscience of the movie in a way, in a very understated way. I think she was really good in that movie. If you're in the mood for 3-hour Scorsese mob dramas, it does have its funny moments though.
Well, I mean, we should get back to Trick or Treat, but were you distracted? Were you distracted with the de-aging in that movie? Because it looked so weird to me. I couldn't do it.
So I came into the movie knowing that was a thing that they did de-age, and I was looking for it and I saw it and I noticed it, but generally, no, it didn't really bother me other than one scene. And I know the scene gets pointed to a lot of De Niro going into a shop and pulling the shop owner out of the shop, like by his hair or by his shirt or something, and throwing him to the curb and then stomping on him. So you definitely see the 80-year-old De Niro
Oh,
slow moving man stomping thing,
oh.
even though he's got the younger face going on and everything. So that was the only time it really took me out, and it bothered me, but generally I was okay with it.
Is there any stomping to death in Trick or Treat?
Hmm. Not that I recall,
Damn.
although there is a lot of deaths, a lot of blood.
Well,
Um,
can you kind of surmise like what the little films are? Like for me, it's, Cat's Eye. I love, where she's dealing with that little demon, sleep demon or whatever. Like,
I've never actually seen that one.
do that. If you like anthologies, check it out for sure.
Okay. Let's see. There's it's more based on like folk tales, sort of hollow, it all takes place in a town, and then there's a bunch of folklore around this town, and then there's different tales about if you go out to this place on a Halloween night, and all these this bus of kids ended went off a bridge and went to their watery grave, and now they all rise from the dead, and that thing happens, and then there's like a child that died, and then he comes back and he's looking for lollipops and candy and stuff, and that's the Brian Cox story, and it's just
Oh, shit.
there's it's pretty creepy. There's some good folklore in there, and it felt different. It felt fresh when I saw it anyway, and I have
Where,
seen it more than once.
where does this stack against another great horror anthology, Creep Show?
I have never wait. I have seen Creep Show, but I was a long time ago, long time ago, and I'm not even sure I saw all of it, so I really can't comment on that. Are you a
That
fan of Creep Show?
that movie haunted me for a long time. And when Red Letter Media covered it for a review, I was like, I don't even know if I want to see those images again. Like that's how much it stayed with me. So yeah.
Okay, okay. But yeah, I've seen there's been a number of pretty good Halloween anthology horror movies that have come out in the past handful of years. I don't have a list in front of me, and I'm not great with titles usually, but it's a lot of good stuff out there.
Is VHS an anthology?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. And
Okay.
there's a bunch of sequels to VHS. The original VHS I am a fan of, although I did see the latest one. I don't know if it's the fourth or the fifth one. I can't
Oh,
recall.
wow.
I remember there's a bunch of skater kids, and it's really like, you want to talk about handheld footage. Like, this one is really nauseating.
Yeah.
But I was not a fan of the latest one, but the original, yes, definitely.
Skater kids are pretty terrifying in
Hate them.
groups. All right, should we move on
Yeah,
to
yeah, we should.
let's get my list again, letter and number. Number.
Give me an S7.
Give me an S. Let's see. Ooh, oh, okay. Okay, 3-word title starts with the and then the S.
The Sixth Sense.
No. This movie is far more it's a favorite. It's people love this
Mm.
fucking movie, man.
The Shawshank
Um
Redemption.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say, speaking of Cat's Eye, because that's Stephen King, I believe. Yeah. Shawshank Redemption, man. A reshoot to a podcast that's not even this. I my imitation of Morgan Freeman, Andy Dufresne. Shit like
And they
that.
do frame.
I don't know. Did you love this as well? Is this one of those things?
Yeah, I'm glad we get to talk about the Shawshank Redemption. I love Shawshank Redemption. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know where exactly. Top 10, top 5, it's somewhere up there. Yes, this is one of those cable sensations, right? It came out on TNT or
Yep.
TBS, and it's just one of those things you turn on and it's always on, and people just fell in love with it. It's kind of funny, like that's a thing that's going away with all the cord cutting and everybody's just in their own world. Like you just find whatever you want. You can literally find whatever you want as long as you know what you want and you can see it instead of flipping through channel. That's just kind of funny. Like, but Shawshank, just something about it. Like it feels like it should just be this dour drama and it should be boring, or I don't even know how I want to characterize what it should be, but it is not that at all. It's just incredibly well paced. uh there's just there's just such a journey that's taken place, and whenever one part of the journey kind of ends, something else picks up and you immediately jump into the next part of the journey. And it's so rewarding at the end and so fulfilling every step of the way. The ups and downs, the sisters beating up on Andy Dufresne, and then the sisters get put in their place. I think they're called the sisters, right? That's how
Wait,
they're
they did a
referred
little
to.
bit more than just kind of beat him up, right?
Well, this we're trying to keep this podcast PG, I thought, right? Sodomize.
Oh man.
But yeah, I love this movie, and this is one you can just turn on at any point in the movie and just take off from there. And there are so many memorable scenes. There are some strangely funny stuff. There's some strangely funny stuff in this too. Darkly funny, usually. But it hits everything. It hits everything. There's scary stuff, there's funny stuff, and there's a hell of a lot of drama. And there's so much to get out of it. There's so many yes moments. Yes, Andy Dufresne. Um, you go ahead. You go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is one of the few times that Tim Robbins, who's usually a comedic actor, does drama. He did it again with the Mystic River, and he won the fucking Oscar for that. It's so interesting that like, and then the other time he did drama was Shawshank, and it's a beautiful film. But I do have to also mention that I don't believe I've ever sat down and watched this movie from beginning to end. It's always been TNT, where I'm like, oh, chunks. I watch it. I'm like, oh, hey. Um, I almost didn't like this because a reshoot to another podcast. I had a roommate who I fucking hate, and he's like, "Oh man, Shawshank's awesome." And I'm like, I fucking hate you. So fuck, you know what I mean?
So
So
now I hate Shawshank because of
in
it.
a way.
Yeah, I get
But
it.
after a while, no, it's great. The
Mm.
movie just it's something like I don't even know who the director is, the writer. That movie's so good. I should have looked that up, but it's just very good. Hmm.
Writer, I don't know who wrote the screenplay. It is based on a Stephen King novel, novella. I don't know. It might be a short, but
Yes, novella, I
uh,
think.
directed by Frank Darabont, who also directed The Green Mile, another Stephen King, and he directed The Mist, another Stephen King.
Oh shit.
And then he disappeared from the movie scene, but then he is the co-creator of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
See, I was a fan of The Walking Dead, at least for a few seasons. Um,
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Frank Darabont just he was this star that shone brightly, like he is he is the guy, obviously, to adapt Stephen King stories. This is the go-to man. But I don't know, beyond the four things I mentioned, what else he's done, if anything.
Yeah. And Stephen King, have you read any of his stuff?
I let's see. A long time ago, I tried to get into it. That's way too long, and I put it down. What else have I tried to get
That's
into
a
on Stephen King?
bold first book for you, man. Holy
No
shit.
kidding. No kidding. I don't know if that was my first. I'm having a tough time. Let's see. I know there's something else I read of Stephen King's. You? Are you a Stephen King fan?
I only read one book, and that was his book about writing called On Writing, and it was very good. I was moved, just I was like, is this how a book of yours is? Because this is beautiful, And he's just talking about writing. I think he was like the origins of Carrie, and he got into that little story and shit, and it was really good. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only one.
I read The Shining. I read The Shining, of course.
Mm.
Of course. That's the one I'm thinking of. That was I in high school when I read The Shining? I don't remember exactly. And I actually don't remember a whole because I saw the movie first, so I don't remember exactly the differences between the book and the movie. Crap, it is all a blur. But I did read The Shining, and I seem to remember I've liked the movie more than the book. I don't know what it is about it, but
Maybe there wasn't enough overacting in the book compared to the movie.
that could have been it. A
And I say
distinct
that
lack of Jack Nicholson. Go ahead.
I say that with nothing but love. Jack Nicholson is amazing in that movie, but he is definitely overdoing it. It's great. Oh shit.
Shawshank though.
Yes.
Yes. All-time classic. All-time classic. If there are young viewers of this out there and if you've never seen Shawshank, check out Shawshank. Check out
Mhm.
Shawshank.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a few things that stand out in the movie is when he puts that record on and there's that shot
Yes.
of the prison court. And they're all standing there still, and the camera kind of goes up. That shot is so great. I love that shot. I'm like, God, can we recreate that in other movies? Kind of like I don't give a shit if it's stolen now. Just put that into more stuff. God, it was so good.
Well, I don't remember the shot exactly, but the whole sequence, it's an earned sequence though. So it's an incredibly powerful sequence. Like you want to talk about goosebumps. There's many goosebumps inducing moments in this movie, but that is definitely one of them. The opera singing and just how bold and loud it is compared to the rest of the movie. Um, it's earned though. You gotta earn a moment like that. And if you just come into a cold at that moment, you don't know what that sequence means exactly. So there's just something about Andy Dufresne taking power over the prison for a minute or two. But yeah, I mean, goosebumps,
Um,
goosebumps.
the old that old guy who gets released finally, and that
Hmm.
little segment of him being a working at the grocery store, asking repeatedly, when he could go to the bathroom because it's just
Hmm.
built into him. Oh my gosh, fucking, it's it,
Red,
it's
red,
devastating. Yeah,
red was here. Red
yep.
was here.
It's devastating yet life affirming, that movie. It's so crazy
Yeah.
when Andy Dufresne finally gets out of that, crawls through that river of shit.
River
And
shit.
yeah, it's like, God damn it. Like, I don't feel stuck, but I do want to feel free like him right now, that sort of thing. Uh,
Yeah, again, that's one of those earned moments. Like we've never been to prison. We've never broken out of a prison. But goddamn, we identify with Andy Dufresne. There's just something about the passage of time that works so well in the movie though, too. Um, Somehow you feel like a decade or a couple decades have passed by. Not that there's no aging makeup or anything going on. Maybe Morgan Freeman's got some more gray hair. I don't
right.
remember exactly, but you definitely feel like decades have passed. And then you find out how he chiseled his way through the wall of his jail cell and how many years it would take to do something like that. There's jokes about the size of a rock hammer and everything. Um, there's just something you feel the struggle and you feel the commitment to busting out of prison and just and it just makes you realize like the dedication that would have to go into that, like how sneaky you would have to be. There's a shot of him smuggling out dirt from his jail cell in his pants. He's going up to bat at the they're playing baseball and he's going up to bat or whatever, and there's a little bit of he shakes some dirt out of his pants. I mean, just the attention to detail. It's just it's great. It's great. All the
Yes.
details are great, and I want to watch Shawshank again
Oh yeah, for
right
sure.
now.
Well, bye. For sure. For sure. What I was gonna mention is the warden, the guy who plays the warden. He's very good at playing an asshole. Like if you see him in other stuff, he's awesome. And after a while, I'm like, oh, maybe he is an asshole, because there are some actors who are just good at that because that's them.
Yes.
But he was very kind. He was very nice in an episode of Monk. Where, yeah. So I'm like, hopefully that just means he's good at playing assholes, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you get typecast. I mean, that's the guy that did Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, Ted Levine.
Yeah.
That there's a whole story, like that guy was typecast forever, but he carved out a little niche for himself. But I wanted to mention, like, have you ever heard anybody say anything negatively about Shawshank Redemption, or anybody that doesn't like Shawshank? Like, this might be the most universally beloved movie, generally speaking, that exists. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about that. I don't know any, like, I've talked about Shawshank with a number of people, and I don't know of anybody that doesn't like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, like I could name a lot of my favorite movies, and there'll always be someone who's like, "Oh, I don't like Woody Allen," and I'm going to talk about it on a podcast. But like, I could bring up The Godfather. Some people don't like that either. Like my mom is like, it's kind of, misogynist, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it is. Like she really broke it down for me there. So I think it is, and it's interesting. Although I don't know if I've ever talked to any women about this movie. I mean, I've watched it with women and they've enjoyed it, but I'm like, that's interesting. It's nothing but dudes. Yeah, real sausage
The whole movie is dudes. Like, I think there's maybe a woman on the parole board at some point, or maybe a couple women, but I think that might be it. I don't even know that you see Andy Dufresne's wife at the beginning of the movie, and she's the one getting murdered at the beginning. There's no spoilers there. Well, there's no spoilers there because that's the first minute of the movie. I don't even think you see Andy's wife. So that's an interesting point. Is it bad of me that probably some of my favorite movies of all time don't have any women in them? That's probably a bad thing, right? Or very few women.
I don't know if it's bad, but it's also not surprising.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm just throwing that out there. I have no idea.
I love plenty of movies with women in them.
Yeah. Well, that's always an interesting thing for me. I don't know. I'm always curious about like the female perspective, man. Personally, like if we could get a fourth, I don't know who the fuck it would be, but if we could get a chick on this show or the Bears, that'd be great. Because I don't know, it's just always shit I've overlooked in some weird way. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know that I've talked about this movie with a woman either. So that is a good point. So maybe it's not universally beloved. I'll have to bring it up.
I don't know. I watched it with an ex. She liked it as well too, I believe. Yeah. Unless she faked that too.
On that note,
like, subscribe, comment. This was my movie recollection with Vincent Cloud.
Matt Hagen.
Matt Hagen.